The Quinnipiac women's soccer team went up against Marist in the MAAC quarterfinals. Could they upset the number 4 seed?
Men's ice hockey takes on a familiar foe in Arizona State, a team which they knocked out in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year. What happened in the rematch?
All that and more coming up on Sports Paws.
Bobcat Nation, welcome back to another Monday night of Sports Paws. Here in Studio 125, I'm Eric Kerr. She's the Bobcat of the Month, Liz Flynn. Liz, how are you feeling tonight?
Eric, I'm fantastic. It's a true honor, but nothing beats being on the desk with you tonight. And this was a very eventful week in Quinnipiac athletics, so what do you say we just jump right in?
Let's jump right into it, Liz. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. The Quinnipiac women's soccer team took on Siena in both teams' regular season finale last Wednesday. The Bobcats were looking for a win to finish the season strong and hopefully secure their place in the MAAC tournament. The first 20 minutes were relatively quiet, but things eventually would pick up. So let's start in the first half. Siena would strike first after a shot by Gianna Menez went off the crossbar right to Carrie Crone, putting the Saints up 1-0. Quinnipiac now would respond 2 minutes later after a shot goes right to Allie Grunstein and she scores off her own rebound. Great shot there. Another opportunity for Quinnipiac now, and this time it's who else but Selena Salas. Salas scores her team-leading 4th goal, and that would be it for Hamden. Quinnipiac took this match 2-1.
With this win, the Bobcats finished with a 5th seed in the MAAC, earning a spot in the conference playoffs. Quinnipiac will travel up to Poughkeepsie in New York to take on the 4th-seeded Marist Red Foxes in the MAAC quarterfinals on Sunday, while Ryder would host the 6th-seeded Niagara later that day. The Bobcats faced the Red Foxes just once this season, that matchup also taking place in New York back in early October. Marist would take the win against Quinnipiac 1-0. The Bobcats outshot the Red Foxes 13-1 the second half of the match, but Jillian Colucci had the one shot and the goal the team needed to win. Quinnipiac was down 2-0, but when Selena Salas is on your team, you know the comeback is possible. Salas scored 2 goals to tie it, and in the 84th minute, Gretchen Cron scored the game winner to send the Bobcats past the Red Foxes. Quinnipiac dominated in shots and corners throughout the match.
Now after the win, let's take a look at where that sets up the MAAC semifinals. Quinnipiac now faces Fairfield in their next matchup, while Niagara beat Ryder and will go on to play the top seed in Monmouth.
Our women's soccer beat reporters Roberto Castillas and Shannon Tierney are live in studio to talk with us about the MAAC playoffs and their predictions for the semifinals and championship. How are you guys doing?
Hey Eric, we're doing good tonight. We're ready to talk some MAAC soccer. So
awesome, guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Jump right in?
Let's jump right in.
All right, first we have 6th seed Niagara against Monmouth. Roberto, who do we think's taking this one?
6 seed against 1 seed. I think we both have Monmouth.
We got to go with the 1 seed. Sometimes the underdog can come through, but I do not see it happening here. Monmouth has dominated the MAAC for years, and I really don't see a 6th seed in Niagara taking them out.
Yeah, I mean, during the regular season, Monmouth went to Niagara and put up 4-0 against them, and I just don't see their fate being much better here in the semifinals. Niagara's just a juggernaut, so yeah, we just don't see it
I don't
happening.
even think it's going to be close, but this one I do think could be close. What do we have for this? I personally see Quinnipiac winning this.
We both see Quinnipiac going into Fairfield and advancing to the MAAC finals. They've been there, they've done that.
Won.
During the regular season, 3-0, they beat Fairfield at Fairfield.
Fairfield did outshoot them though, but co-MAAC Rookie of the Year Megan Phillips came through and was able to get the shutout there.
7 saves for Megan Phillips in that game, and that jump-started basically their winning streak that has brought them where they are now. I think that the key is going to be keeping Stephanie Tangarius, forward, all-MAAC player, contained, and if they are able to do that, they'll be just fine.
I don't think it will be 3-0. I think this is going to be a lot closer, but I think Quinnipiac showed in their first playoff game that they're able to come back from being down. They really haven't been able to do that this season. If somebody's scored on them, it's really shut down their entire game. I think now that Fairfield could get that first goal and they could come right back and get there to still get the win. So I think it's going to be a close game, and even if Fairfield gets that first goal, the Quinnipiac will still be able to come back, since they've shown that now.
Quinnipiac has grown a lot during the season, how they manage games and how they manage adversity, and that's no greater example than the
lot
game
of
against
freshmen on the
Marin.
team.
Yeah, a lot of
So
freshmen.
They're starting to grow and it's starting to show.
It's starting to show. So we see them in the final
Let's
against
take the MAAC
Monmouth.
championship. But who do we think's winning this one?
We both see Monmouth here.
I see Monmouth here.
We both see Monmouth winning.
It's just not the year for Quinnipiac. I really think this is a building season. I think it would be great if they can even get to the MAAC championship. But Monmouth's really dominated the MAAC. We saw the game that they played against Monmouth. Monmouth did only win 1-0 off of a penalty kick, but if you watch that game, Monmouth really dominated the entire thing. Coach Clark literally said after the game that he'd have to go home and think about any positives he could take away. And how many players does Monmouth have in the MAAC?
Monmouth has 15 All-MAAC players this season.
And how many does Quinnipiac have?
Quinnipiac has 0.
And I think that speaks enough for itself.
Monmouth has MAAC Offensive Player of the Year, MAAC Defensive Player of the Year, and MAAC Goalkeeper of the Year. They're just loaded. There's an argument that they should be ranked nationally. They're going for an undefeated season, and I think that they're going to do it, and they're going to win this again for the third straight year. So
they've dominated the MAAC, and I think they'll continue to do that. So
we
back
have
to you guys at the desk.
Monmouth beating Quinnipiac, and toss it back to Liz and Eric.
Roberto, Shannon, thanks for joining us tonight. While soccer is still lacing up their cleats, hockey's been tying up the skates. We'll start with the women's ice hockey team with the Bobcats entering ECAC play. We got the highlights for Quinnipiac taking on number 3 Cornell. The Bobcats look to gain their first win after falling to number 5 Princeton last Tuesday. We head into the first period. Here's Cornell coming in on the attack, but Abby Ives is all over this one. Great work up at the net to get that save. Not much action besides that in the first. We'll move straight into the second period now. Cornell on the power play, 5-on-3, trying to work it around the ice. First shot is saved by Ives, but Kristen O'Neill is there to put it in for the score off the rebound. Let's send this ball into the replay booth. Ives too late to recover off that rebound, as O'Neill was able to lay in that backhand at the top of the goal. Cornell hungry for more, but saved there from Ives again. And then Ives saving this one time, 2 times, try 3 times, and then a 4th time. Abby Ives doing everything she can to keep the Bobcats into this game, but the offense doesn't provide much help with just 2 shots as a team for the entire second period. Cornell looking for more, but Ives says, give me that. That puck right there? Yeah, that's mine. Bobcats trying to even the score, but big red goalie Lindsey Browning is a big wall at that net. She would go on to not give up a single goal in this game, and a 1-0 would remain as the final score in this one. Cornell wins their first game in ECAC play, while Quinnipiac falls to 0-3.
The Bobcats look to bounce back against the Colgate Raiders on Saturday afternoon. Quinnipiac would score 2 goals in the first period from Lexia Gia and Zoe Boyd, but that would be it, as Colgate scored 4 unanswered goals in the second period, and 4-2 would end up being the final. The Bobcats moved to 4-4-1, still looking for their first win in conference play.
It's still early, but the Bobcats stand at 10th in the conference with a record of 0-3. Harvard, Clarkson, and Cornell round up the top 3 spots of the ECAC. Harvard sits at the top spot with a record of 3-0, while Clarkson and Cornell are tied for second with 2 wins and no losses. Princeton sits just below Cornell at 4th with a record of 2-1, while the rest have no more than 1 win to their name.
Men's ice hockey took the trip out to Tempe, Arizona for an NCAA rematch against ASU. Quinnipiac took an early lead after a goal from Skylar Brynamore, but Arizona State would tie it up 2 minutes later and score 2 more after that to make it 3-1. The Bobcats tried to make a comeback in the third period with goals from Ethan DeYoung and Gus Finesse, but Arizona State continued to answer back and would go on to win this one 5-3. Quinnipiac led in shots and face-offs, but couldn't get it done in the first game of the weekend.
Bobcats look to redeem themselves in Game 2 against the Sun Devils. This one was played on Saturday, same time, same place. Let's move straight into the first period. Arizona State, Quinnipiac, second game of this weekend series. We're going to start it off into the first period. Here's Arizona State with the puck in a 2-on-1 opportunity. And Austin Lemieux putting that one in for the goal. Sun Devils setting the tone early in the first with 11 minutes remaining in the period. And not soon after, a 4-on-4 is in effect. Who will capitalize? Answer Arizona State. Sun Devils scoring once again, this time by Jacob Wilson. Sun Devils certainly picking up right where they left off in the first game. Will the Bobcats respond in the second? Let's find out. So far, the answer is no. Johnny Walker, scored by the Sun Devils' leading goal scorer for the team last year. But Quinnipiac not giving in just yet, trying to work the pack around here. Odin Tufto is now with it in the back, fires a pass over to Michael Lombardi with the wrist shot goal. And the fist pump celebration. With a little over 8 minutes remaining in the period. Will Arizona blow this 3-1 lead? A little less than 2 minutes later, Bobcats on the power play, but it doesn't even matter because Arizona State still scores. TJ Morocco would seal a deal in this one. No goal scored the rest of the way in the third. Final score, 4-1.
Now let's take a look at the latest USCHO poll and find out where the Bobcats currently sit. As expected, Quinnipiac dropped from 9th place down to 15th place after its 2 losses at Arizona State. Denver remains at number 1, and 2 ECAC hockey teams to note are Cornell at number 4, and Clarkson also sits at number 8.
A good first block, but we still got more to come. Find out where the men's soccer team stands as MAAC play is close to its end.
And we talk with Izzy Agricola as the field hockey season came to an end. We'll be right back.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
.45 over 92.
180 over 111.
I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Glad you're still with us. This is still Sports Paws. Let's head back into the action. Let's kick it back to soccer, this time with the men's soccer team. Eamon Whalen scored a game-winning goal for Quinnipiac in overtime to win against Siena 4-3 last Wednesday. The Bobcats took control of the game in the first half with a 2-0 lead. Siena was able to bounce back, scoring 2 straight goals in the second, and then tying the game at 3 off a penalty kick. With a little over 8 minutes in extra time, Whalen would score the goal for the Bobcat victory and securing a hat trick for him on the day.
Men's soccer also took on Fairfield this past Saturday. Let's take the highlights. In the final home game of the regular season, Quinnipiac honored its 8 seniors in the class of 2020. They also honored one of their athletic trainers that day as well. Let's jump right in to the first half of the action. Quinnipiac's Brag Asen takes a shot, but it just curls past the post. Close their shot for Asen. And then Fairfield has an opportunity, but that will not go either, just as the header misses. Quinnipiac's Christian Casagranda passes one up to Roman Danilou, but he's unable to get a shot. But Danilou again gets around a defender, passes it up to, guess who? Eamon Whalen. And he will head it in to give the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. Big celebration from Whalen, as that was his 9th goal of the season and 4th goal this week. Safe to say Eamon Whalen is a very good soccer player. Fairfield again on the attack, but Jared Mazzola with the incredible save, keeping the Bobcats ahead at the half. And even coming into the second half now, that would be it this game for Fairfield. Fairfield had some good attempts at the end, but this would end up being a 1-goal game, and that is all it took. Quinnipiac takes this match by a score of 1-0.
Now after the weekend, let's see where the men's soccer team sits in the MAAC standings. In MAAC men's soccer, St. Peter's, Iona, and Quinnipiac round out the top 3 spots of the standings. St. Peter's sits in first place with just 1 loss in the conference, while Iona and Quinnipiac are tied at second. Marist and Manhattan are just below them, tied for 4th, and Ryder sits in 6th place with a positive record. Fairfield, Niagara, Monmouth, Siena, and Canisius, in that order, sit at the bottom 5 of the conference.
Taking a short walk to the field hockey stadium, let's see how the Bobcats fared against Temple in their season finale on Friday afternoon. Quinnipiac and Temple are both looking to end their Big East Conference play with a win. Starting now in the first quarter, Becky Gerhardt is going to score off a pass from Catherine Edgar to give the Owls the lead early on. But you know the Bobcats are going to attempt to make a comeback. So now here in the second quarter, Bobcats are on the attack, and Juliana Capello puts home her own rebound to tie the game up at 1. Skipping ahead now to the fourth quarter, Temple executed a counterattack, and Claire Thomas would score to put the Owls up once again. But 30 seconds later, the Bobcats are on a penalty corner, and graduate student Bianca Strube ties the game up with her team-leading 9th goal of the year, and you can see the excitement from Strube.
The heart is certainly in this one, Liz.
Oh yeah, and it's going to take 2 overtimes to do this one, and Brooke Whipke passes the ball up to Juliana Capello once again, who will score and give the Bobcats the victory. Final score in Hamden is 3-2.
Despite ending on a positive note, the Bobcats will miss the Big East playoffs. Let's take a final look at these standings to see where the rest of the teams finished out. UConn, with an undefeated season in conference play, sits at the top. Old Dominion, Liberty, and Providence finished out the top 4 teams to make the Big East tournament. Temple, Quinnipiac, Villanova, and Georgetown round out the bottom 4.
Field hockey beat reporter Izzy Agricola gave her Big East predictions at the beginning of the season. Let's take a look at what she said.
And then for the last game, I have the Bobcats winning it. They beat Temple last year. I think they can do it again. So in the end, their Big East record will be 3-4. Not enough to make it into the tournament, but I think they're improving on last year, so it'll be great. Thanks, guys.
Let's hear from the beat reporter herself. Izzy, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Great.
We're doing great, Lizzie.
So I'm very happy because I only got one of my predictions wrong, but Quinnipiac is not so happy. First, we'll start with why I'm happy. I had Villanova winning the game against the Bobcats. Losing a game against the Bobcats, but Villanova came out and won. That's the only game I got wrong. I predicted the Bobcats to go 3-4. They went 2-5. And in that Villanova game, it was such a close game. I was there. It was only a 1-goal game, first of all, but even watching it, they were such similar strength teams that I really think either one of them could have pulled it out. So my prediction for how they would play in the Big East really stood with what I said before the season even started. But like I said, Quinnipiac is not happy because they went 2-5 in Big East play, which was the same as they did last year, so they really didn't improve. But they were ranked 6th at the end of the Big East season, so now they were predicted to be 7th in the preseason poll, so I think that's one positive we can take from it.
So, Izzy, what was the Bobcats' biggest problem for the season?
So I think that their biggest problem for the season was definitely their lack of consistency. Becca Main always talked about it. One of her best quotes from the season was the fact that she said they can go from being the best team in one game to being the worst team in the next game. And I really think that shows that they are a skilled team, but they don't have it together yet enough to compete against the Big East. And the Big East is a unique conference in field hockey because the top 4 teams, which are UConn, Old Dominion, Liberty, and Providence, are so strong. And then the bottom 4 teams, which are Temple, Quinnipiac, Villanova, and Georgetown. Villanova is number 5. But they just can't really compete with the big 4 teams yet. I just think that they're too strong. They have very developed programs. But one good thing about Quinnipiac's Big East play this year is actually they played really well against UConn and Providence. UConn, they lost 5-0, but I was at that game. I thought I saw a lot of good things. And then Providence, they forced a shootout, which in the beginning of the season, I thought they were going to get blown out by Providence because Providence has great offensive ability. So like I said, they're very inconsistent. They have good goal scorers, but they only have 2 players who had multi-goal games the whole season, and that's just not something that they need for their offensive thing.
All right, Izzy, thank you so much for joining us.
Don't click away just yet, but find out what happened with the volleyball's team's road trip to New York, taking on Manhattan in Iona last weekend.
And we give you our top 5 plays of the week. Stay close.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
What? I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
Kevin, I need that back.
No.
Kevin!
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill, bring good home.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Back to Sports Paws. We are going to stick with our field hockey analysis with Izzy. So Izzy, glad to see you're still with us, and I'm going to bring you into our third question. What stood out the most to you with the team this season?
So what stood out the most to me this season were definitely two players, kind of on the opposite sides of the age spectrum. You have graduate student Bianca Strube, and then you have freshman Juliana Capello. So we'll start with Bianca Strube. She led the team with 9 goals. She led she was tied for 4th in the Big East for goals, and also she was a very vocal leader out there. It was actually kind of funny when I talked to her after games during the season. She would say that she still felt like a sophomore because they brought her on last year. But like even watching the games, I could see that she was such a vocal leader out there. And Becca Main has said the same thing. She said time and time again that her team struggles with showing emotion, and I think Bianca Strube really brought a lot of good emotion to it. And then Juliana Capello, who is a freshman, was 2nd on goals in the team with 6. These two were actually, like I said earlier, the only multi-goal scorers. She's a really strong freshman. You watch her out there, and she's just so fast. She has great 3D skills, and Maine said that she took a little time to figure her out, but at the Temple game, she scored twice, and she got the overtime winning goal. So I think we're going to see great stuff for her in the future.
So Izzy, the Bobcats are losing 6 seniors, but there are still many freshmen and sophomores coming back next season. What does the future look like for this team?
So like you said, they are losing 6 players and 5 seniors in Bianca Strube, and even those who didn't play are still such leaders. Maine has said that going into the overtime period against Temple, that they were really just telling the girls what to do, the players who don't play and the players who do play. So I think they're really going to lose their leaders there. But one of the big things is Quinnipiac joins the Big East Conference in 2016, so their juniors and seniors aren't Big East recruiting class, but the freshmen and sophomores are, and so are the incoming freshmen, and Maine has said this. These players are coming in and knowing that they're playing in one of the best conferences in the state. And that's not discounting the juniors and seniors at all, but I really think that the freshmen and sophomores have something very special. They're coming in with a lot of pressure on them because they are a Big East team, but I think that they have a very bright future, and I hope that they can keep their play consistent next year if they want to win.
Well, Izzy, thank you so much for staying with us with Sports Boss today. We hope to see you back talking more field hockey next season.
All right, now let's take it to the volleyball courts to see what happened with the volleyball team. The Bobcats traveled to the Bronx last Saturday to take on the Manhattan College Jaspers, and this match certainly did not lack excitement. Manhattan won the first 2 sets, but after that, it was all Quinnipiac taking the next 3 to win it. Olga Zampati led the team with 16 kills, Ariana Diaz had 34 assists, and Alejandra Rodriguez had 24 blocks.
The Bobcats would have a short stay in Riverdale as they will travel to New Rochelle to take on Iona the next day. This is the 3rd time Quinnipiac has had a chance to complete a weekend sweep. Let's see if they get the job done this season for the first time. These highlights for set 3 are going to be really quick, so bear with me. Jamie Smith, quick kill on the outside there, followed by Alessandra Brady. Another swing in the outside. Alejandro Rodriguez could not handle that one. And then Jamie Smith once again using the Bobcat block to take the first set for the Gales. This one was a close one, 28-26, first set final. Iona up 1-0. We're taking the second set. This one was all Quinnipiac. Gabby Horman with a kill on the overcat pass. And then again in the quick middle attack. Bobcats take the next 2 sets in this one, just 1 set away from winning, up 2-1 in the match. And now we take it into the 4th set. Big swing there for Cassandra Patsos, and then Olga Zampati splitting it between the Iona defense. However, Iona would take that 4th set, entering into the decisive 5th set. Carla Johnson would meet Callie Oates up at the net with the block. And then Gabby Horn with a critical kill, setting up a Quinnipiac win the very next play. Bobcats take this one in 5, completing the weekend sweep.
Now, after the 2 wins over the weekend for the Bobcats, let's see how the team shapes up against the rest of the MAAC. As you can see here, Quinnipiac currently sits in 6th place at 6-7 in conference play. Canisius, Marist, and Niagara all shape up in the same conference record, and Fairfield, shockingly, or not so shockingly, I should say, is 13-0 in conference, keeping them at number 1.
The men's and women's cross-country teams are running in Holmdel, New Jersey, competing in the MAAC Cross-Country Championship. The women's team earned 5th place out of 11, while the men's team finished in 8th. Morgan Foy had the best individual finish for both Quinnipiac teams, placing 14th in the women's race.
The men's tennis team had an impressive outing at the Connecticut Championships this weekend. The Bobcats won 7 matches on day 1, 11 matches on day 2, and 4 matches on day 3. Well, Eric, you know what time it is. It's top 5 time.
Oh, my favorite time of the show for sure. You mind if I take the evens on this one, Liz?
Absolutely, let's do it. And here we go. Number 5 takes us to the Quinnipiac men's soccer game against Fairfield. Roman Danilou sends the ball up for who else but Eamon Whalen to head it past the goalkeeper and give Quinnipiac the lead on senior day.
Play number 4 is more soccer, this time on the women's side. Quinnipiac here with the ball gets it to Ali Grunstein, who is able to take advantage of Tiziana goalie using her save against her, shooting it right over her head and into the net. Bobcats win this one, 2-1.
Number 3 back to men's soccer, only this time it is Jared Rizzola with a terrific save to keep the Bobcats up. Let's take another look at this one in slow-mo. Great kick there by Fairfield, but Mazzola just great heads-up play to keep the ball out of the net.
Play number 2 features field hockey. This one with Juliana Capello, whipping it around the Temple defense and in for the goal. This strike was a game winner in overtime. The goal would give the Bobcats their second Big East win in the final game of the season.
And the top play of the week goes to Quinnipiac women's ice hockey against Cornell. Abby Ives with the kick save to keep the puck out. And let's zoom in a bit to see this wide open shot that Abby Ives scoots over and is able to save. Now, let's take a look at the weekend preview. Women's ice hockey is home Friday at 6 p.m. against Dartmouth, and men's ice hockey is at Harvard Saturday at 7 p.m.
While the Quinnipiac rugby team is out on the road for their first NRI playoff game against Army, and then Ryder is going to take on Quinnipiac at home this weekend on Sunday. Well, Liz, it's almost time to go, but before we do, Q30 Sports Director Brian Schwartz shares how the 3 straight MAAC champion Bobcats for the women's basketball team are now predicted to finish first for once.
Number 2 in the preseason MAAC poll, not a position the Bobcats expected to be in, but they'll have to prove the conference otherwise.
I thought it was pretty fair. I mean, based on what everyone's looking at in terms of roster, graduating all starting 5, over 1,700 points.
We need that chip on our shoulder, and we needed that little, check. But yeah, I went all 4 years being number 1 with this team, and my senior year, I'm not about to give that up.
I know everyone's going to want to take a big shot at Quinnipiac, and they should, because since we've moved into the MAAC, we've pretty much have dominated.
Getting pulled as number 2, it definitely was definitely a chip on our shoulder. Everyone's out to get us. Like we're Quinnipiac, we've been on top for the past couple of years.
It definitely gives us extra motivation because, especially coming off a 3-time MAAC champion, we still don't have any respect on our name.
I've done this long enough to know that it's a big picture process and growing, and I think our trajectory, just based on what we've done to date and where we expect to go, is going to be immense.
Those rankings don't mean anything. It's really what you do throughout the season and what you do in March.
Whether the Bobcats deserve that number 2 spot or not, there's one thing that could prove Quinnipiac is number 1 in the conference. It's winning. Reporting from the People's United Center, Brian Schwartz, Q30 Sports.
The Quinnipiac women's basketball team will play their first game on Tuesday, tomorrow at 6 o'clock here at home against Drexel.
Just like that, we have reached the end of our show. Thanks for joining us here tonight, and for more Q30 content, be sure to check out our website at q30tv.com and on Twitter at Q30 Sports. For the producers and everyone working behind the scenes, I'm Liz Flynn.
And I'm Eric Kerr. Have a great night and a better tomorrow.